just going to walk around a little bit. That's how I roll. So, about a week ago, Pastor asked me if I would share my testimony. Without hesitation, I said absolutely. But the thing, since I've committed to doing that, that's been different is, I've shared a lot in small groups, maybe with a friend, but never to an audience like this. And it kind of gave me pause to really reflect maybe a little deeper about what really happened when I really figured out this whole relationship with Christ. So I'm going to take you back a little bit here. I kind of got to take you back because I was about 19 years old when I figured it out. And I grew up in a wonderful home, great parents. I came from, had two sisters and a brother, and started out my life really in Glastonbury, Connecticut. We went to a congregational church there. And my parents were great. We went to church every Sunday, or almost every Sunday. Unless maybe the Steelers were playing a little bit early or something like that. My dad might keep us home. And my mom was wonderful. My mom always prayed with all of us. She prayed at night before we went to bed. So I did have a concept of God and something with that. But I never really got it. And to kind of give you an idea, and I think some of you here probably could relate to this story, and if there's kids in the audience, they probably know. Before I figured it out, I probably went to church 500 times. But so many times when I was in church, I was goofing around the pews with my brothers and sisters. I was typically thinking about talking to my older sister, Catherine, where do you think we can get Dad to take us to lunch after church? Can we go to the Taco Bell? Maybe we go to Chinese, something. That's what I was thinking about. I went to church, but I wasn't hearing anything. And I just went. It was just one of those things. Hey, my parents said we got to go. A lot of times I probably didn't want to go. And I definitely wasn't paying attention to what the minister was saying. Nothing against any of the ministers that we had, but I just, wasn't hearing anything. So now I got to kind of take it to the next level, how I got it. So the other thing that's been really big in my life to that point, and again, 19, that's the date you got to think about. That's how old I was when I figured it out. I was into sports huge. And I know I'm kind of chubby and bald now, but I actually could play a little bit back in the day. I know that's very surprising. But I could play a little bit. And played them all. I played soccer, baseball, football, basketball. But basketball became my thing. Tatum Oxley was that back there because we played a lot in our youth. And, what really went on there was that, when you're a young kid, I was a Dr. J guy. He's the guy that I really followed. That's who I liked when I was probably 6, 7 years old. He kind of got me into basketball. And when you're a little kid, you think for sure, hey, when I grow up, I'm going to the NBA. That's all there is to it. And then as you get a little bit older, you get in junior high, you start realizing that's probably not going to happen. Reality sets in. And you start setting your goals. Oh, maybe I could play college basketball. Maybe I could play for the Mountaineers. Maybe that's a more realistic goal. And then as you move even a little bit older, you realize, maybe that's not realistic either, as it was for me. But my career in basketball really was awesome until I was 19. And, when I look back, when I started thinking about it, when I played for the first time I ever played in a league, 4th grade, and they had their little tournament, we won that championship. When I was in 5th grade of Little League, we won the championship, and I was usually right square in the middle of it all. 6th grade, I moved from Glastonbury, Connecticut to West Virginia, played in the 6th grade, different league, different place, won that. Got to 7th grade, this first time Tatum and I played together, and we went undefeated. Didn't lose a game, did we, Tatum? 8th grade, went and played, and we won John Adams, we won the championship there. 9th grade, guess what? Won the championship again. And things are going well. Things have just gone great the whole way. Then I go on to high school. Things are going well there. Now I'm getting some people talking to me, and I'm thinking I might have a shot at maybe doing something, or maybe playing college basketball. Basketball, right now, that was my God. That's what I was chasing after. That's what I was committed to. That's why I was shooting 200 shots a day, playing every game all over this town, go to camps, the whole shoot match. That was what I was into. So, now let's move forward a little bit to my senior year. I'm over here at George Washington High School, and in that summer leading up to my senior year, went to the camps, things are going great. And my senior year in high school, this is supposed to be the pinnacle. This is supposed to be when I'm going to completely break down the door. I'm going to have the best year I've ever had. Starting August 1st, you don't pick up a basketball for 4 or 5 months. Didn't pick up a basketball for 4 or 5 months. So I knew going in to my senior year, I probably would be a little rusty. Because when you're playing football, you're banged up, you have 2-a-day practices in August. You just don't have time to play basketball. Another thing that was unique is that I had some relationships with girls and little small, I might have dated a girl for 2 weeks here, a month here, nothing ever serious. Well, my senior year, somebody came into my life, and it changed me. I mean, to give you an idea, it was the first time when I played in a basketball game, I wasn't thinking anything about the game. Well, I got this girl in my life, and I remember even in the beginning of the season, we're getting ready to play, and I might have taken a peek out of the huddle to see where she was in the stands. That's not good. But the thing is, it turns into an unbelievable blessing for me. The funny thing is that girl's sitting right over here. And she was the one when I was in high school. So, and you'll see where she kind of wraps into the story, which is really neat. So, I know I'm all over the place, but I'm going to get to this point.
Right.
So I'm sorry. So anyway, we go in, I play football, everything goes well, we start basketball season. And, I was even getting accolades and some stuff heading into the season, and they're talking in the papers about who the guys in the Kanawha Valley, and, every now and then they might mention my name or something. We played our first game, and I think I went 2 of 13 from the field. And I remember in the Charleston Gazette, we had the paper the next day, and Steve Grimm was icy cold, 2 of 13 from the field. That didn't help the confidence, And I went on to play the next 6, 7 games, and I was a shooter. I was an outside shooter, is what probably I did best. And I just didn't have it. I wasn't dropping anything. And 6, 7 games in, we're playing a game, and all of a sudden it started kicked in. I started the old Steve. I thought, here he comes. I'm starting to get back in the groove. I hit some shots. Things were flowing. And I got a terrible twisted ankle in the middle of the game, right in the middle of this game. And it was bad enough. I think I missed somewhere between 8 and 10 games. Basically, December, end of December, January, and into February, I didn't play any basketball. And I was captain of the team. And I'm kind of watching this thing go right between my fingers, just slipping away. I'm seeing it slip away, and I'm feeling it slipping away. And I'm hurt, and because that's all I'm living for, really, if you want to get down to it. And the end of the season comes, and I remember we played our last game. It was like senior night, and I went out there, and I was really hurting then, because then at that point I was like, it's over, and I missed it, and it didn't happen. And I remember we lost the game, and I came home, and I remember my dad was sitting there in the kitchen, and I had one of those cries where I just heaved. When you do that, uncontrollable, like everything just poured out of me, just washed out. I remember my dad held me, which was awesome, but it was one of those, I couldn't catch my breath, I was crying so hard. And you know what I was broken. What I had lived for, I was broken. Now, another interesting thing about my girlfriend, who's my wife now, and have 3 wonderful kids with, is that she was going to this thing called Young Life. Some of you may know what that is. It's Christian outreach to high school and junior high kids. And I thought I'd been some, I dabbled in it, but it wasn't me. I first thought it was pretty cool. So they did this singing stuff, they did skits, and I was above that. I thought, this is for kids, this isn't me. But I started going to Young Life only to chase her. Not because I was getting anything. I was just going to chase her. I wanted to be wherever she was. And in the midst of that, I'm broken over this basketball thing. I'm hurt. I'm going to Young Life. And a guy by the name of Dane Alphon's the Young Life leader here in town. And I remember the first time I heard crystal clear. I was broken, and I was listening. I'd been to church 500 times, I didn't hear anything. But I remember I went to this Young Life, and they did all the skits, they did all the songs, And then Dane Alton got up there and he read scripture and he broke it down. And I remember it was about the end when the Lions did, what a great guy he was. But, you know, things didn't turn out well for him, and they sent him to the Lions. And obviously God came in and delivered. And I'm telling you, man, it was acute. I mean, it was crystal clear what I was hearing at this point. And from then on, I started going, I kept following her, but I started going to Young Life, not just with her. I started because I wanted to hear it. I wanted to hear that message at the end of the night. And, you know, when I look back, that's the time when I found it. That's, you know, what my testimony is, when did you find Christ? That's when I found it at 19 years old. And it's changed my life forever. It's given me that Christ lens that is so beautiful. And I've just continued to surrender and surrender and just surrender my life from that point. And, you know, and that's awesome the more you surrender. When you understand that you just live to seek his kingdom above all else. You know, I hope everybody here, if you haven't heard, I hope that you find it. I hope that you hear it. I know Christ said it in the parables. He said, those who have ears, let them hear. I hope that you really hear it. I hope that there's kids, Jack Grant, you're sitting over there. I hope you hear it when you're sitting in here sometimes. You know, because, man, once you find it, it's a blessing above all blessings. And he has just blessed me beyond measure in my life. So, thank you guys for listening.